Right. Welcome to the first episode of the Amateur Hour podcast. We think this is going to be fucking great, right? So, this episode, we're just going to explain sort of what's to come with it, why we want to do it, who we both are, and just go over what you can expect in the future. So, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and we'll crack on?
Episode numero uno for the Amateur Hour. So, if you don't know already, obviously me and Connor did a podcast with obviously Tom Talks, but now we thought we're going to branch off into doing something together where we can talk about not only how the professional bodybuilding scene is done, but mainly down to the amateur scene within the UK right now. I think Connor will back me up on this. The past few years, in terms of 3 to 5 year period, the amateur bodybuilding scene, not even within the UK, but in terms of bodybuilding in general, has multiplied, quadrupled over this period of time, and the interest is higher. And I feel like a lot of bodybuilders don't get the representation that they, or the sort of accolades they deserve in terms of how good they're looking. And I feel like we want to sort of share a light to not only the UK bodybuilding as a whole, but also the people that are the UK are actually churning out, because there is some great physiques that I think go under the radar. They pop up out of nowhere and go, where did they come from? And I feel like what we're trying to do is trying to bring some light to those individuals, and also federations who do a great job of promoting UK bodybuilding. And we want to be that sort of podcast where we can talk about things, overview shows, our thoughts and feelings, how we thought people came in, obviously shows coming up, roundups, all of that good stuff where we can go through all that. So, and I'm not going to lie, when you have two young bodybuilders that are eager, obviously just come back off both of our own sort of competitions and our preps in general, I think it's very, very good. It's a mission, it's a success. So it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting.
I think what Tommy just highlighted there is one of the most important things is just giving a platform to like the amateurs, because as amateurs ourselves, obviously, we go through preps and we watch all these podcasts like Fuad's and podcasts within the industry that mainly just talk about pros. And then every now and again they'll mention an amateur, but only when they've turned pro or just about to turn pro.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that as an amateur ourselves, it would have been really, really fucking cool to just listen to a podcast about amateurs coming up. I think it gives like a little bit more hype towards shows. It brings that professional, feeling to an amateur show. Giving a little roundup, giving a little build up to it as well, and just shining a light on some of the athletes who, like Tommy said, are coming up in the UK and look very, very fucking promising for
Mate, most definitely. And I feel like this is actually something that I spoke to someone about the other day, where bodybuilding is probably one of, or if not the only sport in the world where, even though you're an amateur, you have to act like a professional every single day to become a professional. To become a professional football player, professional rugby player, you have to act like a pro. But in terms of the micro variables that bodybuilders go through, in terms of literally as soon as you wake up, you're going to go outside, get your vitamin D, start your circadian rhythm, make sure you're eating your meals, making sure you're getting your steps in. It's all these micro variables. And I feel like as an amateur, right, you do all of it. These people are absolutely phenomenal, and sometimes they just don't get the recognition that they deserve. And I feel like we're going to bring some light onto some bodybuilders that you may not know, you may not have heard of, and then next thing you know, you're starting to follow these bodybuilders that you may have been following, you may have not been following for years and years and years, and then you can see their journey from when they started, where they are now. And at the end of the day, the reason why we're doing this is because we want to make sure that not only people get the recognition they deserve for being an amateur, but also we all know how hard it is to be a bodybuilder in terms of prep off season. And I feel like moving forward, bringing a light to that, bringing towards the shows, the news, roundups, what our thoughts and feelings are and stuff, I think it's going to be quite insightful for people, and they can bring their opinions, what they thought, because obviously at the end of the day, it's very subjective, this bodybuilding stuff. So, and like Connor said, I feel like just giving a different sort of outlet and sort of different point of view from where we're standing, and having a podcast that I wish I had when I first started bodybuilding. Like, how can I sort of learn more about bodybuilding? Well, there we go. We've done a bodybuilding prep ourselves. We've been following bodybuilding for a while. We know a few people that we can bring on to sort of give us an insight on who they're prepping, who their sort of clients to watch are, what they're doing, and how they've come in the industry, and go from there. So it's going to be very, very good, and I feel like it's going to bring of light where bring amateurs to the stage that they deserve to be at. To be honest, mate, like I mentioned, to become a pro, you need to be a very, very good amateur. You need to behave like an amateur for a pro, not only for months but also years and years and years. So it'll be good. It'll be very, very good.
Yeah, I think what Tommy also just touched on there quickly was we have the ability, as we are both like fairly well connected within the industry, we have the ability to bring on some very, very good people who can just shine a light as well. So, for example, coaches in the industry, genuine, just bringing on athletes as well who may be on their prep or in their off season to talk about what they're going through at the moment, what they've done, what shows they're doing, etc., and just bring together a community of the amateurs, because I think it's obviously there. Like there is a big community within the amateur bodybuilding scene, especially in the UK. But I think just giving it a platform on its own, like a podcast or whatever, to talk about, is going to be really, really cool, and I think really beneficial and motivational. Some athletes might not like it because they might think it's providing a lot of pressure to them. However, I think
that's the thing, though, man. I feel like that's a positive, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
If we're saying, oh, when you look at this guy, he looks sick, I think as an athlete, I would take that as being like, well, I'm going to show them like what I'm capable of, and the next thing you know, it's only going to build more traction to them, more followers for them, and it's only a positive if you think about it. Like if you have the mindset of, oh no, that might put pressure on me. I'm thinking, well, you're probably not made up for it, mate, to be honest. Because if I'm having people talk to me in a good light, saying you need to watch out for this guy, he's looking really, really good, and they're going, oh yeah, that might put pressure on me. I'm thinking, well, it's going to be good pressure. Turn it into good pressure, because we're only trying to bring light on people where we think that, like we said, we know people within the industry, and we know obviously coaches that coach really, really good amateurs that are going to become pros in the next few years, where I want to make sure that if they do get highlighted, mate, perfect, because that's people that I want to watch, I want to follow, I want to become, I want to see what they're doing that I can implement in my sort of life, where I can see, okay, well, he's implementing that, how can I improve? And it's not just the little things like that, but also on a bigger scale of things, where, like I said, just bringing light to people that we feel like, and bringing a different perspective on things, and just being two normal guys who want the best for UK bodybuilding. And the amateur hour, that's what it's going to become. So that's what it is. That's what it is.
Exactly. I think for anyone who's not listening, maybe we could just give like a quick background on each of us on what we've done so far in the industry.
Background check. But firstly, mate, let's just say I've not achieved anything Connor has. So I'm going to go first, and then we're going to go to leaving Connor on the end. We'll round it off on a good note. So I have been bodybuilding now for 2.5 years. And I did my first competitive season last season, where I placed 5th and 6th in my respectable shows of PCA Central and PCA Midlands. So obviously gathered great data, and my next sort of time is going to be sort of 2-3 years on stage, where we're going to do some growing. We're currently in an off-season setting of around sort of 8 weeks now. This is a 7-week health phase. Got bloods back last week. Everything was all good. So we're currently 2 weeks into our off season. Everything's absolutely fine. But that is it for me. I'm a coach under the brand of Team Coach by Christian. So I work with Christian Chapman, who I'm sure will be delighted to come on in one day, and also Tim Stewart as well, two very well respected coaches in their own sort of like bracket. And yeah, very lucky to be a part of that team, where I can sort of thrive and be the coach. I'm more of a coach, but also someone that takes their bodybuilding very, very seriously. So that's myself. That's a little insight. I'm sure we'll obviously go into you'll get to know us more along down the lines, but I think that's a nice little brief overview. But Connor, mate, take the red carpet, bro.
All right. I mean, again, I don't think I've achieved anything significant, like crazy, but I think what I have achieved, I'm obviously quite proud of. But I've been bodybuilding, like training in the gym specifically for bodybuilding since I was 17. Yeah, about 17 and a half, whatever. But I've been in the gym pretty much my whole life, just growing up being a sporty kid. So I was always like athletic, got into the gym for bodybuilding, like I said, around 17-ish. Then pushed on and did I was meant to do my first show in 2020 as a natty. But then lockdown happened, so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was like 4.5 weeks or something into prep, and then all the shows got cancelled. So I was like, right, sick. Steroids.
Steroids. 4-week mini cut. I'm ready to grow, bro. I'm ready to grow.
Yeah, that wasn't it, but it was that was when obviously lockdown hit, and then I did start taking gear and training more specifically towards just wanting to be a fucking freak. I did my first competitive season under Josh Bridgman in 2021. No, 2022. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
22.
2022. And I did juniors at Two Bros JT Grand Prix, which I won, and then I did PCA London a couple of weeks after that, where I came fourth, out of a really good lineup. To be
I
fair,
was going to say, mate, let's put respect on that, because that was a
that was
decent
a
lineup.
really good lineup. There was that. Do you know Charlie Bowen?
Yeah, mate, freak.
He used to be one of Tom's clients, so he was the one that won that one, and then some good ones in between me and him. So that was a really good show. And then I was really annoyed I didn't do it. I was meant to do the Arnold's a couple of weeks after that, but I just pulled out because I was so hungry. I really,
I was just so hungry.
mate, I couldn't. I could not hack it. So I was just like, no, I'm done.
No, mate, I completely understand that. I
Yeah.
completely understand. I do know Charlie Bowen, mate, and he will. I reckon he will be listening to this. I will send it to him now. I've mentioned him. He
Mate, yeah.
is someone that I looked at. I think he competed at the PCA Midlands show,
Yeah.
or PCA Stafford show, literally a week prior or a week after the PCA London.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
he
like,
won that, bro. When I saw
mate,
him win that, I saw he was
bro,
doing London.
mate, I saw that and I was there like, I want to look like him.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
and
got
I,
six.
mate, and I was there like, and I saw him the other week, and I was there like, bro, I saw you last year on the same stage, and I was like, you were literally the person that I wanted to like literally look like.
Yeah, he's
Obviously,
like
I didn't resemble.
double. He's like tripled in size as well. He's almost
Mate,
like
it's
300 pounds.
ridiculous, mate. He's like 270, I think he is right now.
Yeah.
There you go. There's our first person we're going to shout out. Charlie
Exactly.
Bowen. If you don't know, get to know. Classic physique, 270
Yeah.
pounds, peak off season. I think he's prepping this title maybe in the early years, early next year. Ridiculous physique. But anyway, carry on, bro.
And then obviously I went into quite a short off season. I then joined Tom Hames for like a month after my last show. Went into like a pretty short off season. It was like 6 months, 7 months, and then second prep was this year, where we did four shows. First in the juniors at TBF Takedown, Two Bros. First in the middleweights at that Two Bros show as well. We won the juniors at PCA Yorkshire, and then I came third in the middleweights British finals at Two Bros, and first in the juniors British finals at Two Bros, and a fifth place at the PCA juniors British finals. So that was I've done, what is that, 4, 5, 6 shows in two seasons. So
yeah, man,
I'm pretty happy with it. Gone into a long off season for this year, taking the whole year off, and then 2025 we go again, I think. But yeah, that's pretty much me. Obviously, both of our Instagrams and stuff, if you don't already know or follow us or whatever, they'll both be in the description. Or do they do that on Spotify? I don't know.
They'll be down. They'll be somewhere where you can find it.
They'll be
Down
somewhere.
below in the description. If not, you'll find it somewhere. I'm sure you guys can. I'm sure you guys can find it somewhere. But as first couple of years of bodybuilding go, man, I don't think it really gets much better. I think the standard that when you came fifth in the PCA finals, obviously you can go through that if you want to, but the standard there was absolutely ridiculous. First in the junior show, Yorkshire, obviously did really well. We did better than the first year you competed, which is the main objective anyway. So it came in ridiculous.
That was the whole thing. I just wanted to come in better, and that we did. I mean, I was around the same body weight, which was sort of surprising. I thought I'd be a little bit heavier, but I was definitely leaner. So the differences were there. I was well happy with the result, and it's just a matter of time to see what we can do in 2025 with a whole year of growing. It should be pretty fun.
That's what's exciting, mate. That is what's exciting. That's what's needed. That's sometimes, like I mentioned, I need a little bit more than what you do. I need a good sort of 2-3 year off season where I can really sort of like fill out my frame. That's the disadvantage of being on the slightly taller side. But then again, mate, the same actions have got to be done. The same repetitions have got to be done in terms of everything. So it's just a matter of enjoying the process and getting on the right path of filling out the 6'4" swimmer's frame. That's the goal.
Mate,
that's the goal,
wait,
mate.
go over. So what are you? You're 6'4". How much do you weigh?
I'm 6'4", and this morning I weighed in at 239 pounds, which,
Decent,
mate,
right.
makes me sound. That makes me cringe inside, bro. That makes me cringe.
What were you on stage?
Mate, my lowest of prep was 197, and on stage I was 203 or 204.
Yeah,
So it was. I did get pretty lean. I was
you
happy
did
with
get
what I
very lean.
brought.
Yeah,
So and so I sort of redeemed myself in terms of like how peeled I got. But then again, mate, it was just the fact of like I just got outsized by people who just had more muscle, relatively to their size, just had more muscle than me. And I knew that was going to be the feedback even going into prep. I knew, but obviously with it being I was 23. So but I wanted to compete as a junior, see where I was at. And
yeah,
then I could have done a first timer show. I didn't want to do a first timer show. I wanted to compete against Connor. I wanted to
yeah,
compete against Connor and be against the best. I was like, Connor, like, what shows are you doing? He was like, I'm doing the Yorkshire show. And then I was like, oh, I might do that one. And I thought, well, if I do that one, I can't bring the best for the one at Stafford where all my family are going to be in my last show. So I sort of didn't do that. I wanted to sort of bring my best package in a sense where I wanted to be legit peeled, and I wanted to be like,
yeah,
that's the best I could have ever been. And that's something that I want to sort of touch upon. If you are thinking of competing, it's very easy to get caught up in doing like, yeah, I can do this show and do this show and do this show. And looking back, that's probably one thing I would have changed, where I put too much pressure on myself to do a certain show when I should have done the show that probably would have brought the best look. And
yeah,
towards the end, I remember paying for the FitX show. And the tan and the photography, didn't do that show. I ended up paying for the NFM UK show 2 weeks after the first show, didn't do that show. And I was there like, and the reason why was because I got caught up in doing all these shows and wanted to compete, where in actual fact that would have made the look worse, doing back-to-back peak weeks, going back into a deficit, coming back out. And then, so what I just did was I just dug for 4 weeks, got as lean as I possibly could do, and then brought the best package for that sort of show there. So even though I came out of that season only doing 2 shows, I knew that I came out with my best look rather than doing 4 shows, maybe becoming like second or third and got a better result, but actually bringing a worse look. It was
yeah.
it's a relative that I wanted to bring, and the outcome of a prep is to bring the best version of yourself. So that's what we did. That's why I was happy. That's why I was content. So looking back, I'm very, very happy with what I looked at or what I brought anyway. And if I can put on, 30 pounds worth of stage weight, 30, 40, 50, however long, I think I'm in a position where I want to, like Connor said, look like an absolute freak, and I don't care how long it takes. I want to be like, you know what, that guy is absolutely massive. Because it is true, mate. And this is what Tom Hames said to me. The first person you look at on stage is the biggest dude, the tallest dude usually, who if they walk out and if it's like, oh, no, he's tall but he's not big. But if they're tall and they're big, your eyes are like literally drawn to those people. So
Yeah. You
that's
can't
what
not look at it.
exactly, mate. So that's the sort of look that I want to bring. I want to be a freak. I essentially want to be a freak. That is the goal.
Yeah.
So that was the first competitive season ticked off, and we achieved
But
what we
I
did.
think
And
that's what you said is a very good point in terms of like just not picking a date, but picking when you're going to look your best. Because I had shows in mind. Like I was originally planned to do PCA Stafford, and was that the one the week before Yorkshire? It was, wasn't it?
I think it was the week after, bro. I think it
Was
was
it
the
the week
week
after?
after.
It was.
It was.
It was. Because I was getting too lean, not too lean. I was getting lean quicker than we thought. So Tom was like, "Right, we're going to move it forward. We don't want to just push you, so we might as well do this one." So I think you need to be a little bit more like flexible with picking shows rather than having your heart set on one particular one. Just because you live close to
Most
it
definitely.
doesn't mean that's going
Most
to be like the best one for you. Obviously, I get in terms of like having family there is going to like I unfortunately now I'm up north. I didn't manage to get a lot of my family to any of the shows apart from the British finals, but I mean, if I was just to pick a show down south just for them, that would have just been a little bit chaotic. So it's about being a little bit more flexible with choosing shows and making
Yeah, you
sure
got to
that you
think
are.
about the stress as well, mate. Yeah, the stress as well with traveling, tan, hotels, food. Like people don't take into consideration, mate. It's not just turning up on the day. It's literally like the whole week before. You got to think about peaking. You got to think about where you're going to be settling down for your food, where the tan's going to be, how you can manage your meals around your tan. And honestly, it is a game to it. It is a game to it. But like you said, mate, I wouldn't be stressing about, okay, I need to do this show. Yes, obviously going to have a show in mind, but what I would do if I was me again, I wouldn't put pressure on myself to be like, hey, I'm going to do this show and this show. I've got like a sort of numerous shows which I can look at, and then I can sort of pick the best one where I'm going to look the best. Because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. So, so that's something that I would sort of look back on and be like, you know what, for next time, I just won't put that pressure on myself to do a certain show. I'll just start it down, and then I'll just sort of do a show whichever weekend it lands on. If it's the one that I wanted in the first place, brilliant. If it's one where we can, like you Connor said, it got a little bit leaner, we can gather data on the one prior. We can do 2 weeks prior to the main show, gather some data, see how we peaked, see how it was, then make it better for the next show. So, just don't put the pressure on yourself. Do not be putting the pressure on yourself.
100%. I think that's the best way. Keeping the stress low, keeping cortisol levels at bay is how you're going to look the best to feel the best as well. So it's just, time management and planning has to be somewhat flexible, I think. And I think obviously communication with coaches about that is obviously important.
Yeah, which is so hard in prep, mate, because obviously you're so anal about your routine, about your times, about when you go for walks, when you go for your meals. And then when someone says, bro, just chill, mate. It's like, why are you telling me to chill? Like, it's so hard to actually take a step back. And that's one thing where I realized later on down the line, I was there, like, I just actually need to stop. Christian said to me, stop thinking, just do. And I was there like, that makes it so much better. So I was thinking about things that I don't even need to even think about, even stress about. And I'm not even a stressful person, mate. And I look back and I was there like, I was pretty stressed about that. And I didn't even need to be that stressed. I didn't even need to put myself in that position. But I think we should do like a little episode, mate, of like mistakes and things that you can do on your first prep and ready for helping the first people out.
Yeah, 100%. I think we've got a while until the next season starts, so we can always have a couple episodes here and there, just like normal ones. We can bring coaches on and stuff and all of that good shit, talking about the season coming up, but also just talking about other topics within bodybuilding. We don't have to just talk about shows all the time, which would be good.
No, we don't have to just talk about that. I think what we're trying to come across, like just then, going through how we can help people with their first time competing. Because I think another thing as well, mate, is that there's so much pressure on first timers for it to be a certain way, for it to go a certain direction. You need to do this, do that, be in the trenches. You need to be. It's quite lonesome. Prep seems it's made in this sort of light where it is quite lonesome, where you have to do things by yourself. You have to go into the trenches by yourself, work. Like, you haven't got to be a workhorse by yourself. You can have other people around you actually helping you and letting other people in. Because one thing that I became very paranoid of with in my prep, where the more I let my family in and help me, the better it was. People shut people off. They put the curtains down, mate, and they go, nah, I'm just going to literally be in this sort of like lane for 18 to 20 weeks, where the best thing to actually do is let other people in, let people understand where you're at, where your headspace is at, where physically you're at, so then they can understand, and then, like Connor said, drop cortisol levels, drop stress levels, and be in a position where you can bring the best physique. But it's not just about, oh yeah, this show's on, this show, what do you think about this show? We want to be helping you and actually providing you with not only information, but also an insight from other coaches, what they've been through, how they've prepped people, how they've come across other people in the industry, what they've done, biggest mistakes they've made, obviously what they've achieved, how they've got there. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to sort of delve into. Because the amazing thing about bodybuilding is that there are so many ways to do it, in terms of training, in terms of nutrition, in terms of approaches, in terms of ideologies, methods. And the more people we get on, the more we're going to sort of get an insight onto how they've prepped people. So to get some people like you said, Connor, on my podcast, where Tom Hames likes to push things a little bit harder in terms of PEDs, might sort of cut things down, but some people might sort of take like a longer approach. And I think it'll give people an idea of, and also as well, not only for amateur bodybuilders, but also we can give you an insight onto who might you want to be coached by for your first prep, your second prep. Like, we want to be sort of helping you guys out in terms of your knowledge and who you can be. So I think the more outlook we can give you and help you out, then that's the goal. If we can help one person out, that's the main goal. So it's all well and good. Like,
definitely, mate. I think it's just going to be really, really fucking cool and really fun just to get everyone involved, and it's just going to build a cool community, I think.
Mate, it's going to be class. But when you even said this to me, mate, it was just there like, why haven't we thought of this?
Yeah.
Why hasn't someone at least thought of this, where what's the podcast that I listen to the most? It's Bodybuilding Bollocks with Fuad, and he goes over all of these different things. It's just four normal guys chatting. He gets some other people, and then you sort of get to know, you feel like you know them. And that's what I want to sort of bring to this, where like you sort of know their opinion. You know, literally, mate, you know what Ian Valliere is going to say before he's even going to say it. Like you just know.
Can tell.
Yeah, so it's more of a fact of like we're trying to sort of build a connection with you guys and build a sort of fan base where, not even but sort of like a community, like you said, where you can be open with us about how you're feeling. We can be open with you, and you can be like, well, I'm struggling with this. I'm coming up with this, and you spoke about this. Can you go into more detail about this? And that's where we want to sort of build this environment where, yes, it's normal to feel the way you're feeling, because guess what? We've probably felt it at some point within our journey as well. And guess what? If we don't know how you feel, we can bring someone on that's going to know exactly how you feel. So that's sort of connections that we have. So that's what we want to try and come across. Like the reasons within bodybuilding, I feel like it's very easy to shy away and be like, oh, I don't know that, but I don't want to come across dumb. I don't want to come across like I can't answer that question. That's where the line is drawn here, mate, because that's what we're here for. We're going to build up this little sort of, we're bridging the gap, mate, where we can bring this sort of side of things while obviously giving sort of recognition to the amateur bodybuilding scene in the UK. So that's what we're going to be that's what we're going to be doing. But mate, that's what it is. It's class to see.
Yeah, I think even just talking about it in terms of like, yeah, we're going to be talking about bodybuilding and stuff like that. But I know a lot of questions. I'm sure you get fucking loads of them as well that come from people in the amateur scene who are coming up. They want to know about coaching. They want to know about how to start a business. They want to easily, one, we can both talk about that. Two, we can bring people on. Fucking Christian, mate. Anyone really who we both know can come on and just absolutely spill the guts. Like just tell everything. Like we can bring so much.
But I feel like that's what podcasts are missing nowadays, mate. I feel like it's just too. What's this like? What's this like? And I listened to podcasts way back in the day, and then you're thinking how much information they're providing to people. Yeah, and I know people don't want to give out so much information nowadays, but I just want it to be a place where you can just talk about anything, about whatever you want, and then people are getting information while having fun listening to it. That is what a podcast should be like. I just feel like the narrative of podcasts is getting like, okay, well, this, and this, and it's quite boring. We don't want that format. We want it to be open, honest, and a place where people can talk and just obviously go through their expertise, how they can help us, how they can help you, and then go through everything else. It's not just purely about bodybuilding. It's going to be about everything in between as well. What makes bodybuilding? Okay, it's not about the gym. It's not just about the gym. It's not just about nutrition. It's also about bringing other people, their journeys, how they've got to where they are, and obviously how maybe you can implement, like I said, how you can implement and follow someone that you can see, you can look up to, and you can implement what they do into your life to make you a better bodybuilder, but also a better person as well, getting you to your career, bodybuilding career, personal development, all that stuff. So that's what we're trying to sort of come across here. Like, and when it was Connor's idea, and I was like, mate, the fact that you even thought of this and nobody else has thought of this is crazy. So the man behind it is the big man himself.
I mean, I don't think many girls will listen to this, but if there are, and I'm hoping there are, because I think Lucy would 100% want to jump in and talk about.
There's going to be so many girls that listen to this.
I don't know. Maybe Charlotte would want to as well at some point as well. Like just talking about shows and stuff. This girl's doing fucking sick and shining a light exactly what we're going to be doing, but just branching out. Do you know what I mean? So it's like the opportunities are fucking endless with this. So it's going to be.
That's the thing, mate. It literally is endless. We can bring on top coaches. We can bring on like up and coming coaches. We can bring on what they're doing. We can bring on our girlfriends who are into bodybuilding, how they experience prep. Lucy's been doing prep. She's obviously done many preps, back-to-back preps. How she's handled with obviously. We spoke about it before, but we can go through obviously how we handled our relationships and how it was different, how it was the same, how it crossed over. Because mate, it's going to be a lot of younger generations where you can have a missus and still bodybuild, because a lot of people think that they can't. Honestly, mate, I had a guy come to me and go, mate, I'm finding it so hard to like disconnect and try and find a relationship while being like, mate, I can help you with that, bro. So I think, it's, like I said, the possibilities are endless, and I feel like we want to try and bring, like I said, another insight into not only everything to do with amateur bodybuilding, but also how we can help you as an individual be a better bodybuilder, better person, not only for business, but also within personal development. So, and if we can, like I said, if we can help one person and help you become that 1% better every single day, then that's class, mate. But honestly, that's we've gone through why we're doing it. We've gone through why, the reason why I want to do it,
Yeah.
what we're doing what we're doing, how many episodes we're going to be bringing out. But we're going to be bringing out and rattling off an absolute load. I'm telling you that. I feel like we're just going to do it completely off the cuff, where if something happens, we'll hop on a podcast, we'll get some people on. And like I said, I think we'll do a weekly thing, but I think obviously when we go through later on down the line with the show season coming up, we might do breakdowns of each shows, go through that, go through people to watch, obviously bringing on other people like we said. So we'll go through all that. I think we've given them a great insight onto what's to come. Is there anything you want to cover?
I think we've pretty much covered it all, really. I mean, with the season not really being that close at the moment, there's not too much we can discuss. But I think bringing on someone or a couple of people within the gap from now to when the season starts will be very beneficial. So, like Tom said, I think running podcasts weekly will definitely be the case. But I think when we get down to it and the season starts and stuff like that, it's going to be realistically probably one or two, maybe more a week. Like there's going to be loads.
But there's going to be so many shows. There's going to be so many people competing. There's going to be people that Connor wants on that he's been following. There's going to be people that probably Connor doesn't follow that I follow, vice versa. And then we can just, like I said, pick the brains of people who are in prep, what their goals are, what they want to achieve, what they've done previously, and then we can go through full breakdowns of shows, our experience with those shows, what we expect, what other people are going to be expecting. But I think the main sort of objective right now is over the amateur hour is I think what we can do is we can bring other people on, get an insight of what they've done, who their competitors and what they've done over their past competitive seasons, what they're going to be expecting of themselves in this competitive season as a coach, as an athlete, and go through obviously everything and an insight on that. So it's great. It's great. I think that's all we need to cover. The next one's going to be very soon. We'll definitely get some more guests on, but we're going to be making an Instagram, so there's going to be sort of questionnaires going out on there. We'll get like little polls on. We're going to get all the interaction going because, like I said, at the end of the day, we want to be providing content that not only we enjoy putting out there, but also you enjoy listening to as well. And we want to be putting out stuff that you want to see. So that's what we'll be sorting out. So watch out over the next few days. And also a few weeks of what we're going to be doing leading up into the new year and going from there. But Connor, mate, anything you want to cover? Anything you want to say?
No, I think we've covered it all, man. I think this is obviously going to go on Spotify. We're going to post episodes on YouTube as well. So we're going to just pretty much spam you lot with content. And we want you guys to be involved, like Tommy said, Q&As, polls, all of that shit, questions in the comments, everything we'll get to in episodes and stuff like that. So it's, I'm very, very fucking excited for it.
I'm buzzing, mate. I'm buzzing. I can tell they're buzzing as well. Get buzzing. This is only just the start of the Amateur Hour. Episode 1. Like, subscribe on YouTube, review us, rate us on Spotify. That will all be done. And then, like I mentioned, any questions
as well.
Story tags as well. Get the engagement up. We're going to get it all sorted, okay? But like I mentioned, watch out for the questionnaires. Get your questions in. Get your topics in. We're going to cover it all. And like I mentioned, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Easy.